Hi, I'm Laura Bartow from Studio One Stampers, and I want to welcome you to a Happy New Year. It's January 2022, and here we are with a brand new year and a brand new catalog. And the most exciting part is it's also our celebration promotion. For January and February, any $50 purchase gets you something free from our celebration flyer. And one of those things that I want to show you today is this gorgeous Daffodil Afternoon Designer Series paper. And what I love so much about our offering this year for celebration is that it coordinates beautifully with the products that are available in this giant catalog for our January to June. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the first things that I picked out from this catalog. Now, anybody who knows me well knows that I love flowers. And so I was so excited to see this beautiful daffodil daydream stamp set and the coordinating daffodil dies. And then also this beautiful, what's this called? Flowering tulip stamp set and the matching dies that go with them. These are two absolutely stunning stamp sets with coordinating dies. And of course, I wanted to show you something really fun to do with them. So what we're going to do is actually color on the die cuts with blender pens. And that's going to give us an infinite range of colors and shading that we normally can't get. So I can't wait to show you how to use these fabulous products with a new technique. Well, let's get started. Well, here is the celebration brochure, and of course each $50 gives you a free item. I just wanted to point out the page where we have this beautiful Daffodil Afternoon Designer Series paper, and that is free with a $50 purchase. And of course it works really well to purchase the bundle with the daffodil stamps and dies, and that gives you the free paper. But let me show you a little more closely how gorgeous this paper is. Of course, all of it's two-sided, and so I'm just going to kind of quickly go through the two sides so you can see what each set looks like. And this is the one, actually the pattern that I picked for the card that we're using today. And then here's a beautiful dramatic black and bumblebee collection. And then I especially like this one because it works so well as a card front. A little spot at the top and just works really well to get multiple card fronts. And then you can see it's upside down as well. And when it's cut, it's beautiful. And then here's the last one. It's so colorful and this beautiful window pane color behind it. So that's our paper that we've got for Daffodil Afternoon. Now let me show you what the stamp set and dies look like. So here's the stamp set, and the dies, of course, do the coordination where they cut out the shapes of the images. You can see these two cut these shapes out and cut out the butterflies as well. But all the other shapes are for layering these absolutely gorgeous three-dimensional flowers. And lots and lots of stem pieces, layered pieces. It looks like so much that you get in this set, and it's so fun to use. I'm going to kind of stick that out of the way and then show you also the flowering tulip bundle. And this, what I absolutely love about this particular bundle is that these shapes, there's 3 of them, actually fold over so that you get a three-dimensional tulip. This was one of the first things that when I saw that I knew I had to have it. I absolutely love flowers to look realistic. So let me just pop these dies out of the way over here, and then we'll bring in the samples. So here are the 2 samples. This is the card that I've designed for you, and you can look at the three-dimensional quality of these daffodils and the coloring on them. And here is our technique card. And on our technique card, I've used that folded technique on the tulip dies to give you that really three-dimensional look for these flowers. So those are our samples. Let's talk about how to even make them more exciting. Well, what I've done is I've set out the pieces, and I'm just going to scoot the card away a little bit and bring in the technique, because I think that's really going to show us how to do this technique. So let's take a look at the technique page, and you can see these beautiful three-dimensional flowers. We've got our daffodil, and look at the height and the depth of this beautiful tulip where we've got that folded over piece. Well, I just can't wait to show you how to do this coloring on this as well. One of the things that I did do also for the technique page is added this beautiful hive embossing folder, and you can see that it just really adds a lot of detail in there to add for us a great spring look. So let's go ahead and talk about the pieces that come together here. These are the daffodil die pieces, and they come layered. So to make one daffodil, it has 6 petals, so it's got the double layers there and the double layer for the what I call the cone of the daffodil. And then for the tulip, we've got this fold over piece, and I've done that in Poppy Parade, and then I've done 2 of the white pieces underneath to fold over. But let's talk about our technique and how we're going to really embellish this to make these flowers look alive. What I've done is I've got a block here, and on this block I've just put down 3 drops of 3 different colors of ink refill. This particular color is Daffodil Delight, and then next to it is Mango Melody, and then over here is Old Olive. So those are the 3 that I'm going to put there, and I'm going to be using blender pens. So these are a product that have been in our catalog for a very long time. They come in a set of 3. And both of them are double-sided, and both are brush tips, so there's no difference between the 2 ends. The wonderful thing about getting 6 tips in a collection is that you can kind of keep them to a particular color range. For today, I'm going to use just one of these pens, and I've actually marked this one with a yellow at one end and a green with the other end. And I want to keep my set that way because I don't want to have to clean them off each time. You can clean them off. You just kind of scribble till there's no more ink left. So these pens have clear fluid in them. So it's a marker that has no color. So you need to add color to them. And I've chosen to do that by using our ink refills to grab the color. So I'm going to start with our yellow, and of course I can put the lid right up on top so I don't lose that. And I'm going to start coloring with our daffodil. And I picked up a little bit of that color, and I'm going to just start coloring on this this piece that goes inside of the tulip. And as I color, you can start to see that my color gets lighter and lighter as it goes up. You can see how it's darker at the bottom and lighter at the top. It's also going to lighten up quite a bit. So I'm just going to do that as my first layer for that one. And then this is the second piece on my tulip, and I'm also going to do the same thing here. I'm going to start dark at the bottom, and then as you can see, the color is getting lighter and lighter as I get to the top. And so I like that look, and you can see I've got all these different light and dark colorations. So the next thing I'm going to do is just add a little more of Mango Melody. And Mango Melody is a much deeper color, and I can blend that in to add more of another layer of color. And so I'm just going to kind of come up here and do that and add a tiny bit up here. I happen to know that just the tip of this is going to show, so I don't really have to work too hard at the bottom. So look at all the detail. Look at the difference of having it white and then having the color. And I also left a little bit of white on the edges, almost that idea that the color is going out to white. So that's what we're going to do for that one. And let's go ahead and put this one together. So this piece has actually fold lines on it, and so you can see it folds up like this. So the small piece goes down first, and I'm going to put a little drop of glue there, and I'm going to position this, and I want to position it so there's a little bit of the red the poppy red showing. So I'm having it just below there because I want that layering depth. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this piece. Now this piece, I want to add a couple of dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab a couple of them. I want them only at the top of the flower because as you know, a flower is very condensed at the bottom and actually opens up at the top. So I'm going to use my glue for the bottom, and that's going to give me sort of that angle that I'm looking for. And this is going to just sit right in here like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another dimensional to this particular side of my flower. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little glue here and a little glue there, and go ahead and fold that in place. And so I fold that up and I fold this up, and I have that beautiful three-dimensional flower that's ready to go onto my project. I'm going to have to hold that for just a moment because it's got a lot of depth to it, but that's okay. And now I want to talk about coloring the leaves. Now in this stamp set, it does have, let me reach it. You could stamp them and then die cut them, and that would be an absolutely fine way to do that. But because we're featuring this technique, I want to show you how to color them really quickly just by using your blender pen. So here I've got 3 pieces of this foliage all set, and I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to grab my green end and I'm going to dab that into the old olive and just come along the edges here and just do a little bit of coloring. Really, this takes absolutely no skill whatsoever. I'm just going to add some color along the edges and maybe a couple of stripes up the middle, and you can see that that's all I need to do to add just a little bit of interest. And I'll do the same thing on this stem. It's going to go up behind there, so it doesn't really matter at the top. So there I've added a little bit of interest to my leaves, making them look more three-dimensional. We're going to do the same thing on our daffodil leaf. So just while I have the green in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of show you how to kind of color that and just add a little bit of color. And you can see as you pick it up, the color is darker, and then as you go on, the color begins to dissipate. So that gives you multiple color ranges for the design, because it's different than an ink that's going to be all the same color. So we've got lights and darks, so it's a really fun way to do that. So let's go ahead and put our tulip together and get that onto our technique page. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the behind here and put my stem on, right on there. There we go. And I'm going to use a couple of dimensionals to put this flower onto the technique page as well, just because I absolutely love this whole layering idea. So we'll do that, and we'll throw our stem on here. We'll just kind of pop that right, I think right about here looks good. And I can always trim off the bottom if it's bothering me where it goes. And then we'll just use a little bit of glue to put these leaves on. So I'm just going to tuck this leaf right here, and I love it when it really has some angle and some excitement to it. So I love that these leaves are here and they're really beautiful. So there we go. I think we'll tuck this one, we'll tuck it behind the flower just a little bit. So we've got that beautiful three-dimensional tulip look. Well, let's go ahead and work on our daffodil. We've already colored our stems, so let's talk about coloring these little pieces. We're going to go ahead and use the yellow end and start with the daffodil. And so just color in here the daffodil. And you know, I still have a little bit of the Mango Melody on the tip of this, and that doesn't matter. That's just fine. I'm going to kind of wash my color out, and you can see how it's getting lighter and lighter as I get to the edges, and drop a little bit of Mango Melody into the center. And I'm starting with my darker area. So you always want to put your darker area on first and then begin to blend this out. So I just love how I have all those different colors. We're going to do the same thing on the piece with the that goes on the cone or the trumpet of the daffodil. So we're getting that colored in, and I don't mind at all leaving some white areas. I think that's a lovely thing to do. Go in and add some Mango Melody. Hope you can see what I'm doing. Little tips, these flowers have little folds in the top, little ripples, and so I'm just trying to kind of accent some of those little ripply areas. So there we go. And so that's all we need to do to add all of that detail. Let's go ahead and glue our flower together so that we have it ready to go, and I'll show you how this gets assembled. So this is simple, it just layers right over top of this piece, and that's Daffodil Delight cardstock underneath there. I'm a little sticky here, so there we go. All right, and then this one will go right on top. And this one could go in a couple of different directions. I think this way is probably the way it's supposed to go, but it also can be altered so that you can do different things. I have another one here that's already done, so you don't have to watch me color this one. And we're going to alternate this one so that just the centers are overlapping, and I do like to use just glue to do that. So here are our centers overlapping. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and do that technique we just did before, where I put a dimensional behind here at the top and use my glue at the bottom so that we have that sense that the top is kind of coming up higher. And so we'll just go ahead and put that right there and the dimensional there. And so there, our flower is all ready to go. And we'll put the stem on. And I've colored the stem. I think it looks really great, but of course now I need to cover it up because the flower needs to sit on there. So we'll just kind of put that kind of aiming so that we know that the stem is going to be centered right at that spot right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put this onto my project with a dimensional at the top here and more glue at the bottom. We'll put this right on and then I'll just trim the stem off a little bit later. So I can go ahead and put that onto there with my dimensional. And just drop in these beautiful leaves that we've colored and added some colors, added some detail to. So that's going to just tuck under here. Oh, I just love how this looks. And this one is just going to tuck under the other side. Just kind of tuck that in. There we go. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I love flowers. I love spring. And then to finish this off, we'll just go ahead and just nip these off at the same point to finish off our project. So that's how we do our technique page. I just hope you love the three-dimensional look of these flowers. Well, let's move on to show you how to put the card together. And of course, we're using the same technique for our card. And I want to show you a couple of things that we're doing a little bit differently for that. So this flower has been done exactly the same way as our technique page was done. But this flower is a little different. So I'm going to go ahead and color this flower for you so you can see how differently these are put together. So let me bring in some of the things here for the card itself. So let me pull this in. And I did set this aside because I wanted you to see the technique used when you color an outline piece from the stamp set. So this was stamped in black, and then those colors, a couple of different greens than this. I used Granny Apple and Just Jade to color the leaves in, but the two colors of Daffodil and Mango Melody we used with the blender pens to color this in. And you can just see the depth of that and how that looks. So that's what's done when you just color outlined stamps. So here we are with our project, and this one uses a new embossing folder called Gingham, and I think you can see the little patterns in there. I just love the detail that puts into the project. You can see it just adds so much to it. And then of course a piece of our designer series paper. And what I love too is that this paper really could go either way. I love that we have choices, and they really design these so that they're not solely in one direction. So I'm just going to put this in place right here to do that, and pull this in. So the way I want to show you the difference between this flower and the one we just did is you can see we've got different shapes. And so these shapes make a flower that's actually sort of tilted. And so what we'll do is we'll take these pieces and we'll do the same coloring technique that we did before. Again, starting with our lightest color, and that'll be our Daffodil Delight, starting here with that. and adding that color in and watching it get lighter and lighter as it goes to the tips. And then add a little Mango Melody in. A lot of this won't show because of the way we're putting our card together, but I want to show you how to color that. And then here's our little bud, and we'll start again with our Daffodil Delight at the bottom, kind of coming up, and then we'll add a little Mango Melody to the bottom. I know my hands are in the way here, so it's hard to see, but there we go. You can see how I've just added the color at the bottom. And then we'll be shading this one the same way, and this one as well. We'll just be adding, again, starting with Daffodil kind of in the center and moving out to the edges. And you can see how quickly this goes together. This is not a long, laborious coloring, and really the shapes show you where to color, which I love about that. I love that my shapes are showing me where the bottom and where the outside edges go and things like that. So just coloring that in, and now we'll go back and add the Mango Melody to add these little details and these little spots here, and then we'll add the Mango Melody to this one as well. So you can see we've got just that. I just absolutely love the color changes and how that goes together. So let's put this flower together quickly, and I can show you how that goes. So we'll go ahead and go back and layer these. So this one goes onto this piece, so we'll just add some glue here and put this one on. And then I kind of call this the helicopter blade because that reminds me of that. And that one's going to go on like this. And then our trumpet, or whatever we're going to call that for our tulip piece. We've seen this piece before. That's our highlight of our daffodil. It's what makes our daffodil so unique. And then here's our bud. So we'll put our little bud on. Goes right there like that, and you can just see how beautifully three-dimensional they look. So let's go ahead and put our little stem onto our bud. So that goes on like this, so it goes on top. The other ones we've been putting behind. And let's put this flower together. Now this little helicopter piece kind of stays at the bottom like that, and we're just going to put a little bit of glue in this center section, and this one goes on so that it's above this little helicopter. So you can see those little helicopter ones are actually beneath there. And we'll go ahead and put this piece on as well right in the center. And so you can see how that makes a beautiful shape for our daffodil. And we'll go ahead and then put the stem behind that, and it's ready to go onto our card. Things are a little wet, so they're wiggling a little bit, but that's okay. There we go, we're ready to go. So now it's a matter of putting them onto our card. I've already got this piece ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and stick that one down first. And just kind of put that, and I'm going to work on my stems at the end, kind of let them kind of collect at the end. I'm going to go ahead and put my one of these little stems, I think right there. That looks good. I'm trying to keep them sort of like kind of bunched up right here. That's my aim for that, to do that. And then we'll add our little bud in here. I'm going to put a little dimensional behind this one. I want to just put that on, and a little glue back here too, so when I tuck that in it's going to stay. So that's just going to get kind of tucked in behind my main flower, just kind of right there. Oh yeah, that's a good spot for that one. Okay, and then this one, if I can get that up, there we go. All right, that looks good. I'm going to use a dimensional on the back of this one as well, just to kind of hold that in place. I love this three-dimensional look. And then we'll throw a little bit of glue on this stem, and we'll put that one just kind of adding our grouping together here. Oh yes, and then one more little stem we'll add in, and we can put that one wherever we want. And I think maybe just up back here would be a good spot. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh yeah, because it curves around. I think that's really good. I love things that go off the edges like that. And now it's time for our little greeting. And this is a little die cut, and I've got dimensionals on the back of that already. So that's going to go right across kind of this little area that we've kind of grouped our little stems together, and I want to go ahead and kind of trim them. I don't want to trim them all exactly the same. I want some longer and some shorter, just because I want it to look not as mechanical right there. And then this is the beautiful new window pane ribbon, and it's in evergreen, so it's just a beautiful, beautiful complement. We'll use a cute little, let's see, can I find one of those in here? Oh, they're on the inside. That's right. We've changed that over, so they're on the inside now. But that's okay. There, I found that, a little glue dot. And we'll just pop that right on there. And that's tied with just a little bit of linen thread. So you can see that we have these absolutely gorgeous three-dimensional flowers that just come so alive by using this wonderful blender pen technique. Well, I hope you enjoy this technique and love the daffodils and tulips as much as I do.